Hello, no one. We'll get started here in just a few minutes when other folks join us. Start by doing just a quick introduction to the course and some of the basics here. Let's see here. All right, there we go. So, folks, welcome to Environmental Geoscience for the first summer session. This is a 7-week course, so that means it's a very quick, condensed course. Every week is like 2 weeks of a regular semester, and it goes through really quickly. So, uh, just be on top of that. And let's see here. Let's see. So, uh, here I am, your fearless leader. John Van Regenmorter, you can just call me John or Professor V or whatever you're comfortable with. We're fairly informal in this class here. A little bit about me. I got my uh, bachelor's degree at a little place down the street called Grand Valley State University. Perhaps you've heard of it. And then I've earned a collection of master's degrees in anthropology, GIS, that's the stuff that runs Google Earth, Google Maps, and of course in geology as well, which is why I'm teaching you geology. Right? So let's get right into the course details here. So, class schedule and materials. First of all, weekly materials are due Sunday night of each week at 11:59 p.m. That applies to everything: the weekly assignments, the discussion board posts, the quizzes, the exams. There are 3 exams in this class, including the final. All of those are due Sunday evenings at 11:59 p.m. for the week. So all the material for this week is due Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Office hours, we can do this by appointment via Zoom. All you got to do is email me, and we can set up a time if you're having questions or issues with the class. Right? There is no required text for this course. All of the material basically comes out of the lectures and the homework assignments and quizzes and all that kind of stuff. But if you would like to, I do have links in the syllabus for several free online versions of Introduction to Geology or Environmental Geology textbooks. Or if you want a physical copy, I would say head to Amazon or your favorite online retailer and purchase some cheap used copy of a textbook. But again, all the material you should need should come out directly out of the course material for this class. Right? Since this is an online class, of course, you will need access to a laptop or a desktop with download capabilities so you can fill out the assignments, resubmit them up to Canvas, and all this kind of good stuff. Right? Here's a general breakdown of the course. The course is out of 1,000 points total. 390 of that are in participation and homework, and this includes not only the weekly homework but also the quizzes. It includes the discussion board posts as well. Now, I will come as close to 390 as I can, but if I do go over or under a little bit, here's my promise to you that category is worth 390 points. I think last time I had an extra like 18 points in there, so I had to shrink it down just a little bit. Um, but other than that, there are 2 midterms exams, 140 points apiece. These are digital online exams through Canvas. Uh, they are open note, open book, hour-and-a-half long time limit though. Right? Once you open that exam, it starts running. There is no pause for you to go take a nap or go to work. So make sure you have that block of time set aside before you open the exams. Now, the exams will open the week that they're assigned. They will open on Wednesdays, and they will be due on Sunday evening. All right. I want to give you a couple days to get into that week's material before you freak out about the exam being there. So those will open on Wednesdays, but again, just like everything else, they are due Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. that week. Right? Again, open note, open book, but hour-and-a-half time limit. The final exam is just a little bit larger than the midterm exams. It's 180 instead of 140 points. Mostly new material, but with um, some questions directly off the old exams, some bigger concept questions. And then we also have an environmental geology project. The whole project in total is worth 150 points. It's kind of like a semester project. Since we don't have labs or anything, it's a little way for you to get a bit more engaged into the material, into a topic of your choice. And we'll talk about that more in just a little bit here. So let us say what the goals for this class are. First of all, to expand our knowledge and interest in the planet, processes that shape our world, the things that happen, and how they affect us, of course, as well. We'll also develop a understanding of what science is, what science isn't, and apply it to life. We'll start that in our very first week of material here as well. I think this is on every syllabus everywhere. Develop critical thinking and analytical skills. So sure, we'll do that too. It is also my job to teach upcoming geology majors. I probably don't have any in this course this summer, but in case I do, welcome. However, it also is my job to teach new or to recruit new geology majors. So if you think I'm trying to convince you to become a geologist, I probably am. So let's talk about this environmental geology project, right? This is kind of your semester project. The idea is this: as a well-informed, socially active resident of planet Earth, you want to create some sort of uh, project to inform the general public about some sort of aspect related to environmental geology, since this is an environmental geoscience course, right? So this is your mission: create a project to educate the public on a particular project or topic, right? The idea here is to take whatever your skills, your interests, your passions are, and try to put them into this project, right? I mean, lots of different things can be made into environmental geology projects. I've had lots of artists do art projects related to environmental geoscience. I've had hospitality and tourism majors make a cruise around the Great Lakes, stopping at different parts of interest around the Great Lakes. I've had uh, journalism students make basically news report videos on different topics, and then of course lots of PowerPoints and posters. You can do uh, infographics, videos. I love videos and songs. I've had a lot of people actually write songs for this class. As long as it is scholarly and informative and somehow applies to environmental geology. So this is really your time to shine, to take your interests and talents and run with them on this project. I'm pretty open as far as projects go. I've had a wide range of projects submitted. And for this, you can work alone, which most people in this class probably will. You can work in groups. I have had folks in online classes work in groups before. Um, but as long as we can relate it to environmental geology somehow, right, uh, we can roll with it as a topic, right? So start thinking about fun ideas for topics. We've got a few weeks before you actually have to submit the project proposal, because there are actually three different parts to this project here. Uh, First of all, the proposal, then the update, then the actual project is due the last day of class. So the proposal isn't due, well, for, near a month now. It's due in week 4 on the 7th of June. So a one-page proposal including detailed description of the topic, how it's important to environmental geology, why you're interested in it, what information to be covered, and of course, what media are you going to be using? Are you going to be doing an interpretive dance, a PowerPoint, a song, a poster, a pamphlet? What are you thinking? Right? And then the week before the end of class on 6/21, the project update is due. Just a one-page paper describing how your project's going, problems, what's left to do, that kind of fun stuff, right? And if any issues you're having at that point. And then the very last day of class, along with the final, the project itself is due. Now, I know we aren't out there together, uh, but I will probably try to post these projects in a Google Drive link so you can check out what other folks have been working on throughout the semester. Just to give you an idea of what kinds of fun things have been turned in as project examples, here's a poster, and obviously a hand done poster. I've had hand done and like PowerPoint or Canvas posters turned in, or Canva posters turned into me as well. This one, the girl actually, the young lady had a quite a large rock and fossil collection already, and she took some of those and identified them, and then put them all out in the different types, and then of course had the examples right there to go along with it as well. A few other examples of projects that have been turned in the past. Here is a nice example of a PowerPoint presentation. This has obviously been turned into a PDF, but on coastal erosion, nice background to kind of, draw your attention to it, good information, nice pictures and descriptions. I know you're not reading this, obviously, I'm just kind of going through it to show you what an idea of a project is. And then, of course, at the end, all the work cited. Right? Here's another fun one. A poster. This person drew all the little pictures of these little mystery snails and wood ducks and turtles onto the poster here as an informational bit about this mystery snail, which is an invasive species here in Michigan. And then here's another example of a PowerPoint presentation that was turned in. And the person that did this, I believe, drew all the backgrounds or created them digitally, actually, I believe, for this as well. But again, interesting backgrounds, nice information, concise information. Uh, Good examples of stuff here. And then just wanted to show you this one too, because this person did a Prezi, which is kind of a fun, more animated way of doing a PowerPoint or uh, slideshow presentation on Isle Royale National Park. Prezis are fun. They give you lots of good information here. So I can really get rid of this. And they make it a little more active and engaging here. Those are just a few examples of the things you could do uh, for projects. And of course, that's not all the examples. I do have more on our Canvas page as well here. So I guess at this time would be a good point to stop and see if anybody has any questions here. Does anybody have any questions at all on the information so far? Yeah,
Yeah,
Leah.
sorry. I came in 2 minutes late. I wasn't
Yep.
sure if I missed a previous slide before that or anything, like if I missed the first slide.
Potentially I will be posting this
Okay.
on our Canvas so you can check that out too. But basically I was just kind of introducing the course, the breakdown, the points, kind of thing. So
Okay. Yeah, that was all.
um okay, good. Any other questions at all here at the Memento? All right. If not, what I would like to do is then, whoops, jump into our Canvas course. Let me share my page again here. Yeah. I signed out. Hold on while I get back into our Canvas course here. Okay. Not there. All right. There are two different sections that I'm running here. So some of you might be in one, some of you might be in the other, but they're exactly the same course. So here is our uh, um, Canvas course. When you open it up, it'll open to the home page here, which kind of looks like this. We have a start here, orientation folder, which has all the information you will need to know for the class. So here's an example. Course overview, just a breakdown of all the things you should learn by the time you are done with this course here. Um, Little ditty on me and contact information to get a hold of me. And then the important ones, course resources. Right under course resources, here I have linked a couple direct links to those free online geology textbooks, should you want any of those. And also take note, study guides for the entire semester are already up here. There's exam 1, 2, and then the final exam. So let's take a look at this first study guide here. Oh my gosh, it's 5 pages long. But it's very detailed, right? Is the mantle liquid or sour, solid, right? How old is the Earth? When did humans first appear? What are the 8 most common elements, right? Which group of minerals is quartz in, right? So, very specific, but uh, if you start filling it out kind of as you go through the weekly material, why won't you just then have a handy dandy cheat sheet in front of you when you go to take the exam, right? So if you look at this early and often, you'll love me because most of the questions, 90% or more of the questions come directly off the study guide in some form or another. Um, but if you look at it, the night before you take the exam, you're going to hate me, right? But so look often, look early, fill it out, enjoy it, right? Again, it's open note, open book, but an hour and a half, 140 points, 2 points a question. That's 70 questions. So not enough time to frantically look everything up, even with AI. Right? And by the way, they're quite often wrong about geology stuff on AI. Anyway, uh, so those are just an example of, whoops, those study guides, which again are already up for the entire semester. Right? And below that, I have our syllabus. Here's our kind of course contract, all the good nitty gritty information, all the course outcomes. Here's again our links to those online textbooks. The attendance policy. This is an online course. So attendance is seen as you submitting any assignment or making a discussion board post, but not just simply logging on to Canvas. That does not count as attendance. And the important part of this is if you have not done anything in 14 days in this course, I must report it to the school and they will kick you out of the course. So the moral of the story is if something's going on, I get it. Sometimes life is more important than class. Let me know. Send me an email. Get a hold of me somehow so we know what's going on. And online or asynchronous, it's pretty easy to do workarounds. If I need to extend deadlines or something, I'm happy to do that. But again, if I don't hear from you, you haven't submitted anything in 14 days, I will have to let the school know, right? And then here again is the breakdown of the 1,000 points in this course. Again, the category participation and homework 390. I went just a touch over that last time, so I'll just maybe shrink that down again. Standard grading procedure, as most all courses are, right? And then here's all that good information on the environmental geology project again, proposal deadline, the project update, and then the project itself, right? And then, of course, all sorts of assignments, right? Participation again is important. We're out on asynchronous online, but that doesn't mean we're on our own. One of the best ways we have of getting in touch with our fellow classmates and feeling like we are actually in a course and not just reading stuff on a computer is the participation in the weekly discussion board. So each week I will have discussion topic ideas for you listed. What you have to do is a minimum posting on 2 of 7 days each week, right? So 2 posts each week. but on separate days, right? So on Tuesday and Thursday or Monday and Tuesday, right? Not two of them on the same day. That will not get you full points, right? This is 20 points a week, so it does add up. So if you do your two posts on separate days, and of course, substantial posts, not like I like rocks or geology is cool. That doesn't really do anything for anybody, right? Um, but any posts count. So responding to any of my prompts. If you don't like any of my prompts, make your own discussion topic, right? Or reply to another student. All of these count towards your two posts a week. But again, they have to be on separate days. If you do two posts on the same day, you get knocked down into the 15-point category. Uh, if you do just one post a week, you get down to the 10-point category. And if you don't post, of course, you're not getting any points, right? So an easy way to get points built up in this class, right? 20 points per week. This is 140 points. It's almost, it's a whole exam worth of material, right? So again, just make sure you do that on two separate days each week. Right? And then just the nitty-gritty policies, procedures, places to go get information, all that kind of good stuff, right? Disability support, I should mention too. I have seen a couple DSS notes come through. If you have accommodations and you would like to use them for your exams, just let me know right before the exam and I will give you those accommodations. If you don't have any idea what I'm talking about, it doesn't apply to you. Don't worry about it. Right? All right. So, other than that, we also have information on the environmental geology project posted here as well. Here is the rubric to help guide you. I have made this rubric very open-ended on purpose to try to get you to just to run with your own ideas for this project. This rubric is designed to work with most projects, but it might not work with all projects. So if you don't think this rubric fits well for your project, reach out, talk to me. We can design another rubric for your project. But things I'm looking for uh, in the project content. So, you know, quality of the information you're giving people, right? Not just stuff that you're reiterating right from the class notes, but going and doing your own research, right? At least six sources of information. These can be websites, videos, scientific articles, that kind of thing, as long as they're reliable sources. Uh, Conventions, doing good work on, punctuation, your English, your grammar, right? That kind of good stuff, right? And then organization and design. Creativity is great. A lot of people are like, I'm not so creative. Well, you don't have to necessarily be a creative, artistic person. I'm not. I have problems drawing stick figures, right? But there's lots of online things to help you. You can do lots of great PowerPoints, spend time working on the layouts, making sure everything is concise and laid out nice, that you have nice backgrounds and good images and all that kind of good stuff, right? All right. Other than that, I also have some topic ideas for you. And these are, of course, not a exhaustive list by any means, just like things I wrote down in 5 minutes that I was thinking of. Sea level rise, fracking, coastal hazards, volcanoes, flooding, avalanches, hurricanes, nuclear power, agriculture, oil, uh, sinkholes. I mean, just a short list of many, many possible choices. Again, if we can relate it to environmental geology, you can do it as a project topic. Right? I've had fashion design people do what kind of earth resources are incorporated into makeup and clothing and that kind of stuff. So there's all sorts of things you can do, right? Don't take this as an exhaustive list by any means, but maybe just a jumping off point for your brain to start thinking about things. And like I said, we've got 3 weeks before you really have to turn this in, 3.5 weeks before you got to really start turning this in. So you got a while to dip your toes into environmental geology and see if, something strikes you over the first couple of weeks as well. And then I have linked some additional projects that folks have done. These are actually posted on Grand Valley's website. I teach over there as well. And we've had some really fun projects come in. So let me just kind of show you some of the projects that students have created for this or very similar projects in the background here. So this was a uh, journalism major who wrote or did this video on the Line 5 oil pipeline that goes through the Mackinac Straits.
Enbridge Energy Partners is a Canadian company that specializes in energy transportation and distribution. In July of 2010, Enbridge was responsible for the largest inland oil spill in United States history.
As you can see from some video I think we have from Chopper 7 and from the ground, a huge slick, about 877,000 gallons of oil have spilled out into the creek here near the Kalamazoo River.
More than 1 million gallons of tar sands made its way into the Kalamazoo River system.
They just declared a state of emergency here in Calhoun County. I'm told that there's very toxic chemicals in this oil.
Cleanup cost was estimated at $1.2 billion. Ecologically speaking, the river system still has not recovered from this disaster.
5 years after the worst inland oil spill in the country, there's another pipeline running through our state, and some say it's another disaster waiting to happen.
2 miles west of the Mackinac Bridge resides another of Enbridge's oil transportation systems. Twin pipelines move 23 million gallons of oil a day. As if that fact alone is not frightening enough, the pipeline was built in 1953, making it nearly 65 years old. A potential spill would contaminate 15% of Lake Michigan's open water and 60% of Lake Huron's. It would threaten the drinking water supply of 400,000 customers, dismantle a $30 billion tourism industry, and annual $4 to $7 billion fishery. This freshwater network is an ecological sanctuary to a unique collection of 3,500 plant and animal species, and 18% of the world's surface freshwater. Enbridge's data reveals cracks, dents, and corrosion. An onshore portion has lost nearly 26% of its wall thickness. Patches of bare metal larger than dinner plates are visible in photos of protective coating gaps, much larger than the Band-Aid sized areas in Enbridge's original reports. Line 5 has already spilled at least 1.13 million gallons in the past 50 years, in 30 other areas besides the Straits. The most well-known was in 1999, where 222,600 gallons of oil spilled into Crystal Falls, Michigan. What stops an event like this from occurring in the Straits? The currents under the Straits are 3 times as powerful as Niagara Falls, flowing in multiple directions, causing the steel pipeline to undulate. Sediments once supporting the pipeline have washed away. Although the company claims to have an emergency spill response plan, it was not approved by the federal government. There is no protocol for a catastrophic freshwater oil spill, and there is no acceptable way to clean up oil from underneath the thick fractured ice that layers the Straits for a fifth of the year. One of Enbridge's arguments to keep Line 5 operational is that its employees may lose their jobs, 250 in all statewide, whereas 1 in every 5 Michigan jobs relies on a healthy Great Lakes ecosystem. That's 700,000. Enbridge claims that it is an essential supplier of energy to Michigan. In reality, only 5 to 10% of Line 5's product stays in Michigan. Many environmental lawyers believe that Enbridge is illegally operating this pipeline. Water is a public trust, owned by the residents of Michigan, not by the government or any one corporation. The current administration is not addressing this issue. It is up to the citizens of Michigan to help change that.
So, wow, pretty amazing, right? I mean, somebody created that for this course. Like, obviously, that is way above and beyond what you need to do to get full points on this assignment. But if you would like to go absolutely crazy on this assignment, please feel free to go absolutely crazy on this assignment. I have no problem throwing lots of extra credit your way if you do just an amazing job like that. But other links you can check out here. Fun things. There's a Great Lakes wrap. There's Trump as a zebra mussel. Kind of a fun thing, right? And then I do just have to show you one more thing because this is the most amazing project people have turned into me so far. This gentleman wrote and did the music and lyrics for a song about hurricanes.
Yeah, I hear the sirens telling me evacuate. I see the rainy clouds is pouring, police up keeping the traffic in place. I ain't not lying. You'll be a fool if you stay. Waves big enough, they gon' sweep you away. The storm that I'm talking about is hurricanes. Hurricanes, hurricanes. 2 trillion gallons of rain per day. Wind speeds to 15 feet high, so waves. No tidal waves, but tides for days. Hurricanes, hurricanes. 2 trillion gallons of rain per day. I hope that you'll be safe in every way. When you see a hurricane, stay away. I only have your best interest and I won't lie. Just be careful, don't get caught around the storm line. Better evacuate as possible, you gon' die. If you leave, you won't die. So please just don't die. I'm talking Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Andrew, Hurricane Harvey, and Sandy too. The deadliest hurricane was in Texas. People lost their lives and they lost things they thought was precious. I only have your best interests and I won't lie. The deadliest part of the hurricane is a storm eye. Wind speeds are so fast and waves get so high. They get so high, I want to know why. Summers is on, prepping a storm. We start to spiral, the highest form. Move towards the limits and crash to the shore. Category 3 through 5 has something big in store. I hear the sirens telling me evacuate. I see the rainy clouds is pouring, police up keeping the traffic in place. I'm not lying. You'll be a fool if you stay. Waves big enough, they can sweep you away. The storm that I'm talking about is hurricanes. Hurricanes, hurricanes. 2 trillion gallons of rain per day. No wind speeds to 15 feet high, so waves. No tidal waves, but tides for days. Hurricanes, hurricanes. 2 trillion gallons of rain per day. I hope that you'll be safe in every way. When you see a hurricane, stay away. Yeah.
That is insane that somebody made that in, all right, for my class. I can't believe that, right? So, do you have to go to this level to get an A on this project? Absolutely not. But again, please feel more than free to go to this level, right? All right. Let me go back here. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover in the orientation folder here. The orientation video, that's an old one. I'll be updating this new one as soon as we're done here to this week, but or for this semester. But here, if we roll down, here is our weekly kind of setup. I have, first of all, the 2 different chapters. I put them both in PDF format, full slides of all the lectures, right? All the material, all that good stuff, right? But also, I like to make available a notes format as well. So here's the notes version. And what I've done with this before is, so this is basically 3 slides per page, all just kind of laid out like this. If you wanted to print them up or use it to take notes, it's available for you to do that as well. That way, all the information that I'm talking about in the videos is right there, ready to go for you, right? And you can just work on taking notes on the side, right? And then below that, I have the weekly videos, right? So click on those to watch the videos on the different topics. So this is a intro to what is science video, the nature of science. And throughout these videos, there are a couple different quiz questions that you have to answer for points to get credit for those videos, right? You should be able to go and retake each quiz until you get the full points, but it will stop and pause the video until you answer the question, so you can't just push play and then walk away. So there'll be quite a few of those videos each week. So for this first week, we have watch What is the Nature of Science, an intro to geoscience. And then we start talking rocks and minerals right away. This week we focus on minerals. So elements and ions, what is a mineral, the silicate minerals, the non-silicate minerals. Those are your videos to watch. And again, quizzes in each of those videos. And then here is our first discussion board. We already have a few folks posting in this discussion board here. But again, to remind you, must post to get full credit, the full 20 points a week. Must post at least on 2 separate days each week. So Monday and Tuesday or Wednesday and Friday, right? But not Friday and Friday. That doesn't get you full points, right? So the idea is I want you to stay engaged with the ongoing discussion and what's going on in this discussion board. Again, this is our main way to get in touch with the other folks in this class, right? Again, things like that. So interesting or I like rocks don't count, right? It's got to be, substantive post. So think, a short, thoughtful paragraph or two is basically what you should aim for. Longer, more frequent posts are always encouraged and sometimes rewarded if you make many posts a week. But here's a few prompts for you this week. How is geology integrated into your life? What geological materials do you use on a daily basis? How does geology affect your life? Right? Or what questions you have about this week's material? Or if you don't like any of my topics, you can start your own discussion topic. Right? Responding to any of my questions, responding to any other student, posting your own discussion topic, all of that counts towards your 2 posts per week. But again, on separate days. And then usually we have a assignment or two. There's 2 assignments this week. Nature of Science and Geology assignment. There you got to read this little Nature of Science 4-page paper and then answer the questions in this document. I posted it in both. It always keeps backing me all the way out here. I posted it in both doc and PDF version, so whichever one works for you to open up and answer those questions. And then, of course, you can submit it right here as well. And then also for this week, a favorite mineral assignment where you get to go pick a favorite mineral and tell me all about it. And then little 5-point quizzes kind of on each topic. So an introductory quiz on introductory material, minerals quiz. Click on it. Let me kind of show you here. Looks like true false questions, lots of multiple choice. And then I like these click on target questions where you select on the part of the picture that I'm talking about, that kind of thing. You can take these quizzes as many times as you would like throughout the semester. They're due, of course, Sunday evenings at 11:59 p.m. But it will take your highest score. So again, once you reach that 5 point, you can take it as many times as you want to get to that 5 points. And then if you want to use them for reviewing for the exams, because I'll give you a little clue, I'm lazy and sometimes like to reuse these questions on the exams. Right? So you can do that without worry. Once you get that 5, you've got a 5 for that quiz, right? All right. I believe there's all sorts of other fun things on here. The syllabus is also under the syllabus, as is the schedule. I don't think I showed you the schedule quite yet, but that is all listed out here. Again, due dates for everything on Sunday evenings of every week, and that includes the exams, right? Exam 1 is week 3, so that will cover weeks 1 and 2 material, and the exam will be on week 3. Then week 4, that is when your environmental geology project proposal is due. Okay? Then from then on out, it's stuff every week. The next week is exam 2. Then we have the geology project update. Then the final exam and the project are due, and then the class is over. Okay? So take a look at all that information. Of course, let me know if you have any questions. But does anybody have any questions at this moment on anything we went over? Course material, how to access it, what the requirements are? That's pretty straightforward. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, it's Drew here. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm at work right now, so I'm sorry if it's loud. I got one
Oh, you're good.
question about the second to last assignment you talked about,
Yeah.
the one before the weekly quizzes. So it was the one where we got to do the PDF and stuff. I didn't quite get a good look at that. Is that basically just copy and pasting answers from the provided PDF?
Yeah, so basically I'll have questions and you just got to answer the questions in there. Or like with the favorite mineral assignment, I just list bullet point list things that I want you to make sure you include, right? And you can also feel free, this is not a writing course. You don't have to, write prose every time you submit an assignment. Feel free to bullet point where necessary or where, it makes sense, right? So
Okay, cool.
but
Sounds
yeah,
good.
and I put them up in both Word and PDF format, so whichever one works best for you. So,
Awesome. Thank you.
yeah. Any other questions at all here? Well, if not, I think that is all I had for you. Um, I will see you all in the discussion board, at least, right? And again, if you have any questions, email me. We can always set up a Zoom meeting if we need to as well. All right, folks. Looking forward to a fun, short half semester with you here at the beginning of the summer. All right. Have a wonderful afternoon. Again, we'll see you in the discussion board.